Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we're going to be taking a peek at the charts, and I've got the Bitcoin chart right here in front of us. We'll also take a quick look over at the Ripple XRP price chart. But I kind of wanted to dive into what's going on with Bitcoin because Bitcoin's been the leader of the pack lately, and like that or don't like that, it's the reality of it all. So we're going to take a peek right here at Bitcoin a little bit closer and kind of talk about the things that we've talked in the past, because I still see this actually kind of just staying in this range for a little bit longer, which has kind of been the story of our life lately, right? I think I took a peek at this. We have now been in this range for 27 days. I think that will continue a little bit longer. As for the XRP price, we did have that time where it popped up out of the 19s and went up into the 23-cent range, and we're back in the 19-cent range again. If you kind of take into account how long that has been, we've actually been in this range for 50 days. So there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about in regards to that, except for waiting for XRP to come down and hit the 17.5 cents, which it did over here on Bitstamp. But as for Bitcoin, I'm taking a look at this chart and I'm just kind of like, all right, what are the scenarios that we have here for this whole market, right? One could argue that, well, we're just kind of doing something similar to this, right? You can place this over here and put it like that, and it looks pretty similar, especially if you take it off the log scale and we go like this. Well, it's all kind of matching up pretty good. Well, then that would mean it has quite a bit higher to break out to, up into maybe the 15,000s or 14,000s. The other option that I'm kind of favoring towards, the one that I think is more likely to occur, is that this range is just like this for a second, and then we have what you call a long squeeze in there where it fires straight down to about 6,000, somewhere between 5,700 and 6,000, and takes out all the longs that are leveraged long, and then it fires right back up. That's the scenario that I think is the most likely to happen. Now, in any type of major bull run, you always get these long squeezes right before they happen because, well, is do you think the exchanges and the market want to give a 100, somebody who went ahead and entered like a 25x long right here with their stop right here, do they want to dish them out a bunch of free gains going all the way up to the moon? No, unlikely not. That means there's a ton of liquidity right here. There's a bunch of sell orders that are placed down here, and really, with all of these positioned so close to each other, all of these stops are located right below these lows. So there's a huge liquidity pool way down here to come grab. I do think it will actually come way down there, grab it, and then move right back up really fast. Of course, that could be wrong, and maybe it is following this right here, and we actually are still going to keep grinding our way up higher. I mean, it's totally possible that we are, but based on the things that I've seen and just my gut feeling on it all, it tells me that we are likely going to just come up here just a bit more, range for maybe another week, and then we just go down and grab all of them and shake the market out, get rid of all the leveraged longs out of here, and then fire right back up. So very few people are able to take their time on how they want to enter in a leveraged long position. So we just get rid of them all. And if you don't know what a leveraged long means, it means that somebody, bought Bitcoin at 5 times the amount of money that they actually have, right? So if they have $1,000, they're able to buy $5,000 worth of Bitcoin. However, if the price goes down by 20%, they lose it all. Or the exchange would force the trader to sell off and lose everything. So I'm never a advocate for using leverage. I never ever touch leverage. This market's already volatile enough. In addition, we haven't even had a sell-off from the Bitcoin block reward halving event that occurred earlier this month. So we haven't had a sell-off from that yet. Would make sense that it would. Last time it took about 3 weeks after the block halving in order for the sell-off to occur. I'm expecting the same thing to occur here. My reasoning for it to actually do it is actually unrelated to the Bitcoin block halving or block reward halving. It's completely just due to technicals, and that I think we are actually in a bullish market. We are, but I think it actually has to go down and snag all those longs first and do a retrace of this move up. And then after that, we're gone. As for XRP, it's still the same story that we talked about yesterday. On Bitstamp, we ended up getting that wick right down to 17.5 cents, which is exactly what we were expecting. However, we didn't see that on the other exchanges. So do we actually need to come down here and double tap it again? So at this point, we're pretty much just sitting at the mercy of the market waiting now. Do we have to come back and touch 17.5 cents again? Or is this thing just going to pop up out of nowhere and go? Something we haven't talked about in a while is the DXY, or the US Dollar Currency Index. And this is a measurement tool that compares the value of the dollar to a basket of currencies throughout the world to show how the strength of the dollar is. As you know, if you've been following this channel for a while, I've been anticipating that the US dollar will fall, particularly to around this level right here. We have several reasons for that. I'm not going to dive into all of them on this video. Maybe I'll do it again in another video, but I fully expect that we're coming down here to below 80 on the dollar index. Last time we had a big fall in the dollar index was when cryptocurrency also had a big run. So I'm expecting that we're going to be falling all the way down here and cryptocurrencies will have a big run at the same time. Now, one thing is, we all know that the Federal Reserve and the US government are doing everything they can to flood the world with money, right? We're just adding to the money supply like crazy. What happens when you increase the supply of money? It reduces the value of the actual dollar. So, what happens when, there's way more dollars out there? It leads to inflation. Well, inflation also doesn't just correlate to the goods that you're buying at the store, or maybe gold and maybe silver. It also translates into the stock market as well. Now, it's kind of like I'm touching the stove here, because I touched the stove a few months ago. It was really hot, but it's been enough time and I don't really remember how hot it was, so I'm going to touch it again and see how hot it is. But the last time I made a video regarding all of this was back on March 30th, and I expected that, which was right here, that the stock market would break back up and go into all-time highs and that cryptocurrency would follow along with it. It was met with a lot of dissatisfaction, arguing, and people who did not agree with me on the fact that the stock market would rise back up to the top. At the time, the really great narrative that the herd was involved in was that we were going into the Great Depression with the stock market, which was not the side that I had chosen. I chose that we would go back up to all-time highs, we'll break all-time highs, and cryptocurrency will fall along. Still, that looks to be evident of what's going on. The NASDAQ has done way more than any kind of retrace. You can't lay any type of Fibonacci on top of this and call it a retrace. Now, it hasn't broken the all-time highs yet, so maybe we're talking about it a little bit too early. Maybe it gets rejected at the all-time highs. But beyond any type of retracement level, the stock market has completely regained itself. Now, does that mean that the value of stocks have actually gone up? Or does it mean that the value of the dollar has gone down? So you can see the prices of assets rise. It doesn't make them more valuable. It just means the dollar isn't worth as much as it used to be. So it seems to be that's the strategy that the government is going for. The government is going to try to destroy the dollar in order to prop up the stock market and make it look good. That's terrible for citizens, especially when there's 40 million US citizens who are unemployed right now, watching the stock market touch up against all-time highs. This morning, the Dow Jones is up almost 700 points. Yet we're going to be getting more unemployment data later this week, and it's sure to say we have at least another 2 million people who are unemployed. But I want to kind of touch on this topic again, because it's kind of like you can't have your cake and eat it too, on the correlation between these two. Either the dollar falls and the stock market rises, or the dollar rises and the stock market falls. So which one do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's going to be that the dollar rises, or do you think it's going to be that the dollar falls? If you think the value of the dollar will fall because the Federal Reserve is adding to the money supply at such an insane rate, well, then you should be having the mindset that the stocks are going to break out into new all-time highs. If you think that the dollar is going to get stronger, then you can go with the idea that the stock market is going to crash into oblivion. But it's never usually going to be the dollar falls and the stock market falls. It's one or the other. I'm under the belief system that the dollar is going to be the one to fall. We have all the fundamental reasons and we have all the technical reasons on the chart to believe that the dollar will fall, especially down to around the DXY index, going down from about 100 right now down to 80. We've seen moves smaller than that. This move was not as dramatic of a move as that. When this fall took place, this was a 15% fall. This would be a total of a 22% fall. This 15% fall was the 2017 cryptocurrency bull market. So we're looking at having a bigger fall in the DXY than we did in 2017. Now, I took a lot of heat. I took a lot of heat for saying that I thought that the stock market would go up and break new all-time highs back on March 30th. I even had other content creators telling me that I was wrong. You know, the grand narrative that people love to follow along with is the whole that the stock market's going to crash into oblivion and the cryptocurrency market will rise from the ashes and be the phoenix and go on and touch the sky while the rest of the world burns. But we have no evidence of that ever occurring in this market. It has always gone up when the stock market goes up and has always gone down when the stock market goes down. But the great news is, if you're ready to listen to me on that, if you've kind of gotten beyond that part of thinking that we're going into the Great Depression with the stock market, is that the stock market is very close to setting these all-time highs. And cryptocurrency has a tendency to follow along with the stock market. So long as the stock market breaks out and continues going, we can expect the same thing for cryptocurrency. And that brings us back over to XRP, right? We've done all this technical analysis on this chart. We are here. We're at the moment. This is the moment where it is supposed to break out and go to the moon. What do we see over in the stock market? We see the NASDAQ pressing on the all-time highs at the very same time. What happens when the NASDAQ breaks out into new all-time highs and risk is on again? Full-blown risk on again. We see the US stock market about to break into new all-time highs, the DXY on the verge of collapsing on itself, and the cryptocurrency market completing its correction. It's time. So, that's going to be it for this one, guys. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Please like this video and give it a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed and hit the notification bell so that way you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.